You ever see a man break down live on air? Not in a movie, not in a scripted reality show, but in real time, raw and unfiltered? Because that's exactly what happened when Jim Jones, yes, the dipset general, grabbed the mic on a podcast last night and dropped a bomb so big, the entire internet is still picking up the pieces. 1 minute he's laughing, sipping something brown, talking Harlem loyalty. Next minute, he leans in, stares at the camera and says, "I shoulda never trusted her after that night with Camron." Excuse me? Did Jim Jones just accuse Chrissy of betraying him with his own brother-in-arms, Camron? And not just in private, not in a text, but live, on a podcast, with the cameras rolling, and no turning back. Now the question is, was it a drunken slip? Or was this the confession we never thought we'd hear? Because what came next, the screaming, the storm out, the leaked DMs, baby, it's a full-blown Harlem heartbreak. So buckle up, because this isn't just about romance. This is about loyalty, legacy, and the one night that might have ended it all. Let's break it all the way down. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Because what happened last night on that podcast wasn't just drama. It was a Category 5 emotional hurricane. Jim Jones, rapper, entrepreneur, and Harlem legend, went from chill storytelling mode to full-on meltdown in less than 20 minutes. And the reason? One name, one man, one night.
Camron.
And baby, the streets are whispering that Cam might have done more than just sip drinks at that now infamous Miami after party. Allegedly, he left with something, or rather, someone that didn't belong to him. Chrissy. Let's rewind. It started on a casual episode of a podcast called The Rooftop Rundown. Jim was invited on to talk legacy, dipset history, and where Harlem fits in the ever-changing landscape of hip-hop. Everything was smooth, at first. Jim was laughing, clapping back at critics, even dropping a few gems on loyalty and brotherhood. But then the host asked a simple question. What's one night in your career you wish you could erase? Jim leaned back,
Took a breath.
then mumbled something that made the room go dead silent. Miami, 2014. Camron was there. So was she. No names needed. Everybody in the room knew who she was. And that's when things went left. Let's break this down for the uninitiated. Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin have been together for over 2 decades. They've been through everything: reality TV, near breakups, proposal drama, beef with Mama Jones, and all the viral love and hip-hop chaos. But through it all, they always presented themselves as unbreakable. Until now. Because according to insiders, that Miami trip in 2014 has been a dark cloud hovering over their relationship for years. And until now, no one really knew why. All we had were whispers.
Shade.
Awkward interviews. That one time Jim refused to answer a question about Cam on The Breakfast Club. Now we know. Because on this podcast, Jim didn't just hint, he unloaded. After that cryptic, Camron was there. So was she moment he paused, looked at the camera, and said, "You ever look at somebody and realize they ain't who they said they was? I built an empire with Chrissy. I gave her everything. And after that night, I could never look at her the same." The host tried to pivot, clearly nervous. But Jim wasn't done. He pulled out his phone, started scrolling, and then dropped this line. "They thought I ain't see those messages. But I did. I got screenshots."
Boom.
And that's when Twitter imploded. Let's get specific here. What are these messages?
Who sent what?
And what went down in Miami? According to an anonymous ex-assistant who claims to have been managing logistics for Camron at the time, that night in Miami was not just a dipset reunion. It was a full-blown VIP bash thrown by a liquor brand trying to rebrand with Harlem legends. The source claims Chrissy was already in Miami. Jim had flown in late. And in that window of time, Chrissy and Cam were spotted at the same rooftop lounge, drinking and getting way too close for comfort. The security footage?
Gone.
The club denies everything. But guess who were there? Oh, they're starting to talk. One woman, at Keisha from the 305 on TikTok, claims she saw Cam and Chrissy laughing and whispering all night, then leaving in the same black SUV. She also added this little twist. Chrissy wasn't looking like Jim's girl that night. She was looking like she ain't care who saw her. Now, could it be innocent? Sure. But Jim's meltdown says otherwise. Back on the podcast, after flashing the screenshots, which he didn't fully show, by the way, he said, she texted Cam something like, "Don't say nothing. You know how he gets." That's when I knew. That's when I felt played.
Y'all.
That's not a friend message. That's damage control. And if that wasn't enough, there's more. Another guest on the podcast, a close affiliate of Jim's who goes by Boogs, added fuel to the fire by saying, "I told you back then. I told you Cam was acting funny. He been wanting what you had." So now the whole dipset loyalty image?
Cracked.
The brotherhood? Suspicious. And Chrissy? Facing her biggest backlash since she got into it with Mama Jones on TV. Instagram comments have gone wild under Chrissy's last post. People are saying things like, "Now we know why she pushed so hard to get married."
Guilt.
"You stayed for the lifestyle, not the man." "You and Cam say it ain't so." And Chrissy?
Silent.
No response. No post. Just a suspicious unfollow spree.
Yes.
As of this morning, Chrissy has unfollowed both Camron and Jim Jones. What does that tell you? That she's guilty? That she's mad Jim aired her out publicly? Or that she knows the truth is already out and she's bracing for impact? Meanwhile, Camron has been uncharacteristically quiet. No IG stories. No podcast drops. Just one cryptic tweet. "Don't speak on what you don't understand. Loyalty ain't loud. Lol. Cam, please. You spent your whole career being loud. Now's not the time to find inner peace." And the deeper we dig, the darker it gets. An industry insider, who asked to remain anonymous, dropped this nugget on Clubhouse late last night. Jim knew about that night. He just never had proof. But recently, somebody sent him a video clip from that party. You can't see much, but you can hear voices. And let's just say, Chrissy ain't talking like a fiancé. Wait, what? A clip? Is there a video? This just went from suspicious to potential evidence. And that's where part 1 ends, because in part 2, we're diving into the exact details of that night, the leaked text messages, the insider who claims she saw them kiss, and the DM that may have started it all. This isn't just a scandal. This is betrayal, Harlem style. When we left off, Jim Jones had just dropped a live podcast bombshell that cracked the internet in half. Chrissylampkin, his longtime partner, and Camron, his dipset brother, allegedly shared a night in Miami that still haunts him to this day. Now, let's talk about the night itself. The infamous 2014 Miami party. According to several guests at the event, including one former bartender named Tasha R., Chrissy arrived early, dressed in a black sheer outfit, heels, full glam, and sipping on straight tequila. Camron was already at the VIP section, surrounded by a crew of models and influencers. Here's where things got strange. Tasha claims Chrissy walked directly up to Camron, whispered something in his ear, and laughed while touching his chest. She stayed beside him the entire night. And while people assumed it was harmless, that was only because Jim hadn't arrived yet. According to another guest, an unnamed photographer hired to shoot the event, he caught Cam and Chrissy walking off into a restricted section of the rooftop lounge. He assumed they were doing promo photos, but no pics were ever published. And when he went to retrieve the files later that night, those specific shots were mysteriously deleted. Another guest, a former video vixen named Chanel, went live on TikTok just hours after the podcast meltdown aired. Her video went viral immediately. That night, it was weird vibes. Chrissy was low-key rubbing Cam's neck while he lit her cigar. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. She wasn't acting like Jim's girl. She was acting like Cam's main. Now fast forward to the podcast fallout. Jim didn't just vent. He hinted he had more than texts. He allegedly has video proof. Multiple sources say someone recently sent Jim a short clip from that 2014 night. It's grainy, taken from behind a curtain and only a few seconds long, but what it captures: 2 silhouettes. One woman in heels, one man in a hoodie and Yankees cap, leaning in, then pulling back, and laughing. Now look, We can't 100% confirm who's in the video, but the timing, the outfits, the context, it's enough for fans to believe it's Chrissy and Camron. And what makes it worse? After the video surfaced, Camron blocked Jim Jones. Just blocked him. Out of nowhere. No response. No explanation. The Dipset brotherhood is officially over. Back to the DMs Jim mentioned during the podcast. What do they say? We got our hands on a few alleged screenshots from an anonymous source. One thread reads, "Chrissy, you always show up when I'm at my weakest. Cam, that's 'cause I know how to pick my moment. Chrissy, don't make me regret this. Cam, you won't. Just don't tell Jim."
Phew.
Now, of course, the authenticity of these messages is being debated, but fans are convinced, especially since Chrissy has yet to deny anything publicly. She's usually fast to clap back, but now, radio silence. Meanwhile, Jim's social media has turned into a raw diary of heartbreak. His recent post? A black screen with white text. Loyalty means staying silent even when you know the truth would destroy someone. 1 hour later, he posted a photo of himself with a bottle of dust and the caption, "Never again." Fans are pouring into the comments. "She played you, and we all saw it coming. Cam ain't your brother if he crossed that line. Chrissy ain't been loyal since season 1 of Love and Hip-Hop." And here's where the plot thickens, because Mama Jones just entered the chat. Yes, Jim Jones' mother, the iconic fireball from the early LHH days, went live on Facebook and said, "I warned him about her. Years ago. Women like Chrissy know how to play sweet until the moment's right. That Miami trip? That's when I knew she was fake. You heard that? Mama Jones knew." And now fans are flooding her comments with apologies. People who once thought she was being dramatic are now calling her the original truth teller. But wait, there's more. A source close to Chrissy has come forward. An old stylist who worked with her around that time, let's call her Gina, claims Chrissy once said backstage, "Sometimes you gotta remind your man he's not the only one that could have you, especially when he forgets your worth." When Gina asked what she meant, Chrissy allegedly smirked and said, "Let's just say Cam reminded me that night." What? If this is true, then it's not just betrayal. It's calculated. It's revenge disguised as flirtation. Let's also not forget, around that same year, Chrissy was reportedly pressuring Jim for marriage hard. Rumors were swirling that she was giving ultimatums, saying things like, "I'm not waiting forever." But now fans believe that wasn't about love, it was about leverage. Was Chrissy trying to lock Jim down because she knew she slipped? Was that sudden engagement push just a damage control strategy? And where does that leave Cam? Well, some say he's the puppet master here, that he's been holding onto this moment like a chess piece, waiting to flip the board. He's known for being strategic, cutting, and when it comes to women, Cam has always walked a line between charm and chaos. Back in 2009, remember, he once joked during a radio interview, "I don't want no drama, unless it's somebody else's girl." That makes it interesting. Could this all have been a long game for Cam? Dipset's fall from unity, Jim's emotional breakdown, Chrissy's silence, and now Cam, sitting in the shadows like the final boss in a Harlem video game. And before we move to part 3, let's talk public reaction. Twitter is in flames. Hashtag chrissyexposed. Hashtag Camron did what? Hashtag Jim Jones deserved better. TikTokers are making breakdown videos. Instagram influencers are doing deep dives. Even YouTube commentary channels are releasing timelines with titles like, "The Night Chrissy Snapped, Camron's Biggest Betrayal Ever, Jim Jones and the Curse of Loyalty." The streets are awake now. And Chrissy? She's trending for all the wrong reasons. But part 3 is where things get legal. A cease and desist has allegedly been sent. Lawyers are involved, and a rumored tell-all interview is being scheduled. Because if Chrissy speaks, she might bring everybody down with her. Welcome to the final act. And if you thought the first 2 parts were explosive, honey, this is where the bomb actually detonates. Because after Jim Jones' emotional unraveling, after the resurfaced Miami night rumors, And after the alleged texts between Chrissy and Camron, now the scandal has entered its most dangerous phase yet. Lawyers, NDAs, and a silencing campaign that's already backfiring. Let's start right here. Just 24 hours after the podcast aired, Jim Jones received a cease and desist letter. Yup. Sources say it was delivered by Chrissy's legal team, demanding that Jim refrain from spreading false accusations, remove any references to an alleged infidelity involving Camron, and cease sharing or implying possession of private communications without consent. Let's translate that. Chrissy's lawyering up and clearly panicking. But here's where it gets shady. Another source, an entertainment attorney who's worked with Love and Hip-Hop producers, says Chrissy's team is trying to suppress past footage that never made the final cut of season 4. Footage that allegedly shows Chrissy confessing to crossing the line emotionally with someone close to Jim. Guess who wasn't filming that day?
Jim.
So now fans are demanding that VH1 release the tapes. Hashtag release the Chrissy confession is trending like wildfire. Meanwhile, the live podcast episode that started all of this? Pulled from YouTube, allegedly for legal concerns. But don't worry, screen-recorded copies are already everywhere. Jim's team hasn't responded to the legal threat, but he's been posting like a man who doesn't care anymore. One IG story showed a bottle of champagne with the caption, "To the end of fake love. Cheers." Another post just said, "When loyalty becomes slavery, it's time to set yourself free." Now here's where it gets even messier. Camron just dropped a freestyle.
Yes.
A diss freestyle. And, baby, it was venomous. Lines like, "Never touched her, but she offered / told me Jim too soft. She wanted a baller. Didn't kiss, didn't touch / but if I did, so what? Excuse me?" So now he's denying it, but also taunting Jim like he might have? It's classic Cam, deflective, dismissive, and disrespectful as hell. But guess who isn't playing coy?
Chrissy.
For the first time since the meltdown, she took to Instagram and posted a black and white photo of herself with a caption, "The only people mad about the truth are the ones living a lie." No denial, no clarification, just vibes and cryptic sass. But now people are reading everything she does like it's a secret code. That photo? From a Miami rooftop. The earrings? Allegedly the same ones she wore the night of the party in question. The caption? A direct shot at Jim or Cam or both. And now Love and Hip-Hop producers are circling like vultures. There's talk of a special reunion episode being fast-tracked, centered entirely around the betrayal, as fans are calling it. Insiders say Mona Scott is already making calls, and even VH1 staff are saying, if Chrissy agrees to speak, it'll be the highest-rated episode in franchise history. But will she? Because if she does, she risks blowing open the entire Dipset universe. Rumors are swirling that Camron had situations with multiple women in Jim's orbit back in the early 2010s, including a stylist, an old assistant, and a party promoter from Harlem who mysteriously vanished from the scene in 2015. It's all adding up now. Some are even speculating this betrayal is why Dipset started falling apart quietly behind the scenes, why Jim and Cam stopped performing together, why their social media energy shifted, and why fans sensed the love was gone years ago. And now, the old wounds are ripped wide open. Even Joel Santana jumped on a live stream and said, "I ain't getting in between none of that. That's their business." But loyalty? That word's dead in this game. That says a lot without saying much. So, what does the future look like? Let's break down the fallout. 1. Jim Jones. His image as the loyal, ride-or-die partner is cemented. Sympathy is overwhelmingly on his side. His fan base is growing, not shrinking. There's talk of a documentary deal in the works, behind the bandana. The price of loyalty. 2. Chrissy. Divided public opinion. Some say she's being slandered without proof. Others call her a manipulative opportunist who finally got exposed. Brand deals? Slowing. Her fashion line's Instagram hasn't posted in days. 3. Camron. Petty king behavior. Some fans are riding with him, saying Jim should have known better. Others? Calling him the biggest snake Harlem ever raised. Dipset reunion? Officially dead. But here's the wildest part. A media outlet claims to have an unreleased podcast segment cut before the final edit, where Jim says, "I still love her, but love don't mean loyalty." If that audio gets leaked, if the full vault of alleged footage surfaces, if Chrissy ever goes on record and says what we think she might say, it's over. The entire Love and Hip Hop legacy will be redefined in one swoop. And what about that one burning question? Did Cam and Chrissy actually sleep together? No one's confirmed it. No footage proves it. No one's confessed. But the energy, the tension, the years of cold silence between Jim and Cam, it tells us everything. And if this whole saga teaches us one thing, it's this. Sometimes, the biggest betrayals don't come from enemies, they come from your day ones. So now the question is yours. Was it just one night of bad judgment, or the slow unraveling of a 20-year relationship built on secrets, denial, and unspoken betrayal? Did Chrissy and Camron really cross the line? Was Jim Jones always in the dark? Or did he choose to ignore the signs to protect his pride and the brand they built? And more importantly, what happens now? Because this isn't just a messy love and hip-hop storyline. This is real-life heartbreak, real reputations, and real receipts finally seeing the light of day. Chrissy has spoken, in cryptic captions and silence. Camron has responded, in bars and bluffs. And Jim bled on the mic, and let the whole world see it. So tell us in the comments, who do you believe? Should Jim forgive and move on? Is Dipset loyalty officially dead? And should Chrissy finally break her silence on camera? We're just getting started. Because sources say there's more footage coming, more DMs, and a sit-down interview that could flip the script on everything. So don't miss what drops next. Like this video if you believe Jim deserves better. Comment your wildest theory. We're reading every one. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next reveal in this Harlem heartbreak saga. Because this isn't just gossip. It's betrayal at the highest level.